It is Latsab again. I have the Macdev clone. It is not a VX, but it is VXed. I've said that like a million times from the last time that I was making this video when I couldn't get it to work correctly. So hopefully we're going to be in good shape here. I took it out and played with it a couple weekends back. I was having some problems with it shooting down. I think it's because of the lower pressure. The thing was set up for 250 FPS. It was obviously really low. It was for a reball. Plus I was using a disruptive barrel at .678. So it was obviously a really small bore as well. So I think that it dropped his PSI to probably 80, which is a little bit low. This thing's like a 90 to 110 PSI gun. So I'm thinking that's probably why he was having shoot down. I shot it a little bit directly before starting this, and it seemed to be doing fine. We'll have to see. I do not have a chrono on hand. It is likely shooting probably at 280. I don't want to quote that, but it looks and feels kind of like 280. Again, this is some free paint that I got that's just a hodgepodge of leftover stuff. Not sure what's going to break or whatever else, but we'll see. I'd love to say this thing was shooting really low because of just how stupidly quiet and smooth these things are. But I mean, it's just impossible to tell. Even when I was testing this thing out originally, and I was taking it up to 300, it really feels like a gun that has either no air or is just ridiculously low on air, because they're really quiet and they just feel like a gun that is on the last couple shots of the tank. So let's see what happens. It's uncapped ramping as usual. So that is a hopper through the Macdev clone. Didn't have drop off, so like I said, I was assuming that it was probably just a pressure issue with trying to shoot reballs through it. I would definitely suggest anybody that's thinking about reballs getting just a massive overbore. I think it's the only way it's going to work, because if you try to underbore or if you try to cut it close with reballs, which I don't think you're going to manage to underbore reballs because they're really small, but the smaller the bore, obviously the less pressure is going to go into it to keep it at 250 or less, and it's just not enough for the gun. Even my Legend was having problems. I think any gun that doesn't have an LPR is going to have some difficulty in that area. So yeah, the thing's really, really smooth. Quite possibly the smoothest gun I've ever shot. It's ridiculously quiet, very similar to the DM that I used to have. Even though I'm not a fan of the DM, they're still smooth and quiet. So yeah, not a huge fan of the bolt system. Everybody probably could have guessed that, because I don't like how complicated they are. And people can say how few actually move and whatever else, but if you're trying to troubleshoot something, and I was trying to troubleshoot something, it's just a pain. I prefer spoolies or poppers that are just very, very, very simple guns. I don't consider this to be a simple gun, but it shoots amazingly well. That was, again, about 500 PSI off of that hopper, so we're talking 200 shots of a 500. That puts it in the range of probably about a case. It's very similar to the RX that I was just shooting. Macdev always has efficient guns. Their milling always leaves something to be desired, but they have very efficient guns that shoot very well. The CS was, up in the air. Everybody's probably got their own story about Macdev CS, but I'm not going to complain too much. It is definitely a good shooter.